diversity on a college campus is really important because college is a time for challenging our minds, a time to really be exposed to all sorts of people and ideas. As for me personally, well, I've already got my group of friends and we've got a lot in common. Other people just make me feel uncomfortable.
It's hard to be the only black student in most of my classes. I mean, there are some students in class, they treat me so differently just because of the color of my skin. And then there are others, they just ignore me. And I don't know which is worse.
Well, coming from Chicago, I was kind of surprised at the lack of ethnic and cultural diversity here at VU.
But for me, coming from a would-be Mayberry RFD to Valpo was really eye-opening. I mean, I've met people and studied things I never would have had a chance to if I still lived at home. I've really kind of surprised myself.
Yeah, I guess we've all got something to learn here. I've got him listening to Ice Cube. And, well, Garth Brooks is kind of growing on me.
When you grow up in another culture and you worship in another way, adjusting can be very difficult, especially if people don't respect your traditions. I'm here because I want the best possible education. I can't see how that could hurt anyone. Doesn't the golden rule apply, love your neighbor as yourself?
Diversity is having a mixture of people with different races, cultures, and ethnic groups, and people benefiting from that diversity.
I look at diversity as multicultural form of system, people coming together from different areas and different internationals to try and be one and realize their differences and try and see how these differences they have can be respected and valued in different angles.
Diversity is more than just racial differences. It goes beyond that. It's economic differences, it's social background, it goes beyond what I think people stereotype diversity as.
I think diversity is a matter of openness. It's a matter of paying attention to other people's cultures, not judging everyone you meet by your own standards, understanding that everyone comes out of different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different religions, and that there's something to be learned from everyone.
My first class was a geography class with Bill Coates, and I think he was probably teasing, but he went down the roll and read off all these German names, and everybody had a German name. There weren't even very many Eastern European names, mostly German names. But he got to McGrew and he stopped, and he said, "McGrew?" And I raised my hand, to acknowledge being called, and there was this big production made out of this Irish name.
But I also say, don't allow me, as the faculty person, to sit on my comfortable seat. Confront me. Talk to your other professors. Don't allow professors to make statements that you feel are inadequate or you don't understand the documentation. That's the professor who really wants to have academic exchange. That's the kind of person you need to be as a learner. So we're all in this together. It's the give and take part of education, and it's not going to move forward unless we all participate.
We're trying to make Valparaiso University a much more diverse academic environment for students. And having students from other cultures coming here is one way to do that. Having our students go to other cultures is another way to do that. The more they get to know about other cultures, the more they appreciate those other cultures, the better they'll get along with people from those cultures, the more they'll understand their own culture. I just think it's a no-lose situation. Everybody gains by learning about other cultures.
Hi.
Hey.
Is this where the study group's supposed to meet?
Yeah, you looking for your daughter or something?
No, I'm waiting for the study group.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I get that all the time. You haven't had a chance to look at Chapter 13 yet, have you?
Yeah, but I don't understand what they mean when they say.
Hey, Linda. I need you to stop by the office sometime. I need to talk to you.
Okay, will do. Meet my new roommate, Kathy. She just transferred here this semester.
Hi, Kathy. Nice to meet you. You're going to love VU. It's a great school.
Hi. Well, we've got to get going. I'm just showing Kathy around, so see you later.
All right. Take care, you guys.
See ya.
Hey, who the heck was that?
That's Ravi Singh. He's the president of the student body.
No way. Where's he from?
Outside of Chicago, I think.
Well, what's with the turban?
Well, he wears it because he's a Sikh.
What's he seeking?
Sikh. It's a religion, you dork.
At a Lutheran university? Cool.
You can't begin to understand the world around you if you don't have a handle on the different kinds of people in it, and you can't begin to even try to change things until you can come to some kind of understanding between different groups of people.
You can only benefit from different viewpoints and different ideas. If you limit yourself to one goal or one idea, then your perspective is very narrow and it's almost tunnel-minded. So the more differences that you can bring into one place, the better things can be.
When anybody ever asks me that, I always think about what Martin Luther King Jr. said, and he said we can live together as people or we can die together as fools.
I don't think diversity is necessarily a goal. It's more a way, or it's a fact of life. Maybe the goal is our own understanding and keeping an open mind in our day-to-day lives.
This is a keynote, I think, of the gospel, and we can think of the Apostle Paul talking about how in Christ there is no longer male or female, or Jew or Gentile. And I think that applies to contemporary situation as well. That is, if we're going to be a campus that is serious about the Judeo-Christian tradition, we must have an ethic that embraces diversity, that embraces reconciliation, and that not simply tolerates, but even celebrates diversity.
It has become obvious to almost every educated American person that without the awareness of and ability to work with and know about people of many different sorts, there's no way that anyone is going to be successful or happy living in the world that we have now.
In the last 2 decades, we've heard new voices. We've heard from women who identify themselves as feminists or not. We've heard from people from other parts of the world who have gained educations as biblical scholars, but have a very different way of approaching the text. And so it's in response to that that I think this campus must address the issue of diversity.
We still have 5 more minutes left. Will you sit still and hang on? I've got to read through my speech outline at least one more time before we go off to class.
I think you worry too much. You always ace your speeches, but you are going to have to go some if you want to do better than Laura.
That was a great presentation. She's so funny, and her jokes always go with the topic. Man, I wish I could figure out how she does that. My grades really need the help.
Hey, speaking of jokes, a blonde climbs into a taxi, and the driver turns...
Don't even start. I don't make fun of you poor, always picked on white males, so don't even start on women, okay?
You are way too sensitive.
Oh, really?
Women. Ever since the revolution, you're just so politically correct.
Will you both stop it? Why don't you treat one another with a little respect? And while you're at it, what about me? If you don't mind.
Well, another grace-filled dinner.
Don't remind me. Hey, what are you guys doing this weekend?
Homework, probably. I got big chem test on Tuesday.
Union Board's going to the mall on Saturday. That would be cool. Why don't we all go?
Yeah, maybe I can find the CD I've been looking for.
What do you think, Karen? Want to go?
I don't know. I have a lot of things to do for next week.
But it's only for a couple of hours. We'll spend that much time goofing off or watching TV.
I don't think so. Besides, I don't really like the malls around here.
Oh, what are you talking about? I've shopped with you before. You'd be happy shopping in a paper bag.
Well, it's not just the malls. It's the people who work there. I get the feeling that I'm being followed. It's real creepy.
You've been reading too many spy novels.
No, guys, I'm serious. I'll be looking at some jeans or something, and I'll turn around and some sales clerk will be staring at me. I get the feeling that I'm not trusted.
Wow. That's never happened to me. Are you sure you aren't just overreacting?
You know, that's happened to me too. I always thought it was just me.
We benefit from diversity in a way that we learn to live together with people of different cultures, with people of different ideas, because eventually we're going to have to go out in the world and deal with that.
I think that we have a lot of different organizations that provide a very diverse campus for us and a lot of different activities that people can be involved in and gain that openness towards the differences.
I wouldn't say that VU is diverse enough, and I think that that causes a lot of problems. It causes a lot of misunderstandings between people, as it has in the past.
Completely, we benefit from diversity, and that this would be a terribly boring place if every person said the same thing every day and everyone thought the same thing. That without that, why even go to college? Because you wouldn't be learning anything new.
People who don't know who I am immediately judge me on the stereotypes they are taught about homosexuals, that they're all flaunting and they're all ranting and they're all raving and they all dress like women and they all wear lipstick and eyeshadow. And that's not true. And that's the problem I have, is when people prejudge me based on what they don't, or what they've been taught, not what they know.
When you use crayons and you color with them, quite often I became angry if someone used one of my crayons and there was another color from it. So if you had a yellow crayon and brown got on it, or black or purple, you're kind of angry. You tried to scrape it off because you thought, you know, one crayon should be able to remain within itself in terms of the color. And that's how we ought to view culture. But quite often we ask people to assimilate. And if you're going to assimilate, then you're going to mix the colors in the crayons. And people don't want to do that. You know, you color in the lines, but you don't color over the lines where there's another color. And we shouldn't ask people to assimilate. We should actually be very proud of people for who they are and what they represent and value that.
I think that Valparaiso is surrounded by kind of an atmosphere of people have to help people, and that's how things get done. And in order for anything really to happen, students need to start becoming actively involved, and I don't know that I've seen that to this point.
There's still people who are scared, and it's fear and ignorance, and it's fear of the unknown. And by having more people out, I feel that everyone will then get a chance to meet someone, and you dispel the fear, and you dispel all of you dispel the problems and the ignorance that they have, and you're trying to educate them, I think.
I heard the strangest thing at that lecture yesterday. Did you ever hear the business about them killing off left-handed people in the Middle Ages because the left hand was a sign of the devil? Weird. It makes you think. I mean, I'm left-handed.
Right. They weren't talking about hands, sweetie. They were talking about fags getting it on. Shit. Take them all away.
And slash their tires too, right?
Yo, JD, what happened to live and let live, huh?
What, you want one for a roommate, cutie? Hey, Dan, where are you going?
JD, weren't you at the homophobia lecture yesterday? Don't you know that Dan is gay?
What? Dan? No.
Hello?
That's disgusting.
Disgusting? It wasn't so disgusting to hang out with them last weekend at the coffee house, or to have him on your intramural team, or to even copy his chemistry notes. Now all of a sudden he's disgusting? Man, come on.
My place in a diverse community is, first of all, to be myself, but also to keep an open mind and understand that while I may have my own ideas and my own way of life, which is my privilege, I also have to understand other people of other backgrounds, and it's also to my benefit to know those things.
I had the privilege of playing a homosexual dying of AIDS in a production, The Shadow Box, and it really opened my eyes as far as to what it's to be like to be on the outside looking in, or to be a part of a very small minority and a very misunderstood group. It turned my perspective 180 degrees.
I think it's so important with everything going on in the world today for me to have an understanding and a knowledge of how to relate to people and how to help them with who they are.
I think it all just comes down to treating everybody as a human being.
Yet, when that student comes to me and asks such naive questions about the existence of people of color, blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, I have to go back to a point where I thought, or I was hoping, that elementary schools or high school teachers, churches and communities and maybe families had prepared students for meeting other people. To my dismay, I find that there has been little connectedness. People tend to avoid what the real world is.
What I would encourage is that different groups really begin to work together to deal with issues, so that faculty, staff, community, and students come together to deal with issues of diversity, and then to look in specific detail at what diversity encompasses.
I feel obligated to create a classroom that will not only examine peoples of other cultures, ideas from other cultures, not only learn to tolerate difference, but also to embrace difference and celebrate difference.
In a classroom, a student made a very uncomplimentary comment, something to the effect that we should have a new Olympic event where we send niggers out and shoot them. And the class remained basically silent. And I think that for things to change, every student in that class needs to stand up and say something to the person who made a comment like that. And that when the black student in that classroom who walks out, I think the rest of the class should follow. I mean, that's the kind of unity that we need around here, and the kind of responsibility that each student needs to take for his or her own actions.
Okay, here are the papers. Let's open them together.
Yeah, okay. No, Dwayne, you go first.
Okay. Yes, I got an A. Extra research really paid off. What'd you get?
Whew, I got a B+. Boy, was I worried. I know I did okay, and I did it a couple hours before class. Hey, I got a C-. What happened here? Shoot.
Well, look, I got a job interview and I got to get cleaned up. I'll see you later.
See you later. Good luck. A my ass. That teacher gave him an A because he's black.
Martha, he was at the library every night studying. And where were you?
Well.
Listen, Dwayne earned that A because of what he did, not because of who he is. It's time you show a little responsibility and stop blaming other people for your problems.
Well, so we'll each go over one chapter and prepare an outline for the next review session. Now, can we talk about what
I gotta go. Folk service. Do you want to come? It's a lot of fun. Great singing.
No thanks, I'm a Muslim.
Oh, okay. See you on Tuesday.
Wow, I didn't know that. Well, I'm Catholic and we've got St. Teresa's, but Muslims. I mean, where do you go to pray and stuff?
Oh, there's a worship room in the International Student House, just like the chapel and St. T's. See you on Tuesday.
The things you don't know if you don't ask. Well, hey, what do you do when you worship? I mean, I'd like to know, really.
As we began to put together the ideas for this video, from focus sessions and interviews and class members, fall and spring, we got a clear idea of how to begin, how to use the opinions and information and scenarios, but not a clear idea how to end this video. And then we realized there was no way to end it because there's no end. So we thought we ought to tell you why each of us made this video. These are our reasons. When I began to work with Sheila, my major goal was to empower the students in this class to examine issues involving diversity, prejudice, stereotyping, fear, hatred, and to use television performance and production techniques to create this video. Now, as we end the process, I hope the video can affect the entire university community and have them name issues of diversity and examine new ways to behave in relationship to them. We all need to learn that different isn't better or worse. Different is to be celebrated as different. We need to learn new tools for handling situations of hatred when they happen. We need to be willing to examine our own behavior as well as others. We need to learn to be brave enough to say no when something happens that's outside the golden rule.
I don't think there are any easy answers. I wish I could tell you how to create a world full of acceptance and tolerance, but I can't. I can tell you this, though, that it's an individual thing. The best way to break down stereotypes is to interact with people different from yourself. Once you become truly friends with someone, you learn to appreciate your differences.
I decided to do this video because I know what the university's policy is as far as diversifying the campus, but I also know how I'm treated here every day. I just want people to realize how their attitudes and actions affect other people. Because one day you might be the member of an out group and you won't want to be treated like me.
For me, the most important part of this video is showing an appreciation for other people. There are so many fascinating, enjoyable people in this world that getting to know somebody different from you can be one of the best experiences of your life.
Creating a diverse campus is a major goal for this university, which can only be achieved if every student is willing to do their part by being diverse in their thoughts, actions, and beliefs. I hope that by making this video, I have been able to demonstrate to you and to myself what diversity is and how it can be achieved.
For me, the purpose of this class was simple. It was about understanding ourselves and working toward an understanding of other people. And although the issues we have dealt with were more complex, racism, sexism, ageism, homophobia, all have common elements of oppression. And that's difficult to think about because sometimes it's easier to pick or choose. These people are okay while those people aren't. Truth is, we cannot be free until oppression is eliminated. And while this may seem a bit overwhelming at first, if we follow one simple rule, it's not hard at all. Love your neighbor as yourself. We have no way to end this video, and truthfully, we don't want it to end. Our hope is that we all learn something about each other and how to take action against oppression. Because unless you do something, nothing will happen. Valparaiso University needs you to light the way because, like this video and like each one of us, our campus is a work in progress.
And I think people should be told that it's going to be difficult. And that's all right, because if you come here, you're smart, you're capable, you have succeeded at many things already. And so you will be able to succeed at this. It's hard, but it's worth it.
To first probably make a decision in their own hearts and minds what diversity is, and then to seek answers to that question.
In the coming years, these issues are going to become more and more a part of not even something special that we talk about, but something that's just a part of the regular discourse that we engage in here at Valparaiso University.
What I would just say is to freshmen, be open and be willing to meet anyone, because the more people you meet in your life, the better student you're going to be, and you're just going to be able to deal with everybody.
I think it is a very exciting time to be here because students, by being here, will encounter professors and others who are wrestling with this issue seriously. And I think that that is a perfect context or environment for education.